Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this special briefing on the ongoing visit of Right Honorable Theresa May, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. As you all know, she arrived late last evening in Delhi. This morning, she and Prime Minister first had an interaction with the India-UK CEOs Forum. Then they jointly inaugurated the India-UK Tech Summit. And we have just completed bilateral talks at Hyderabad House. You would have seen or heard the press statements that the two leaders issued. A joint statement has also been issued and will be uploaded on our website very shortly. But the very fact that we are starting this press conference so late means the talks really went over time. The two leaders had a lot to discuss. They discussed a whole range of issues on which Joint Secretary Europe West, Sri Randhir Jaiswal, will brief you in more detail. There was also bonding over cricket. As the working lunch was ending, Prime Minister said that, I hope you enjoyed this food. And Theresa May said, yes, of course, I love it. And Prime Minister said that, well, we have a good cook who does this, but the real cook is coming with the English cricket team. So just to give you a flavor of the kind of bonding that was between the two leaders, but really to elaborate more on the substantive aspects of what was discussed, the concrete outcomes of the visit, the number of decisions that have been taken to enhance the India-UK strategic partnership in a whole host of areas. I have with me Sri Randhir Jaiswal, Joint Secretary Europe West. He will give you a broad opening statement, and then he'll also brief you on the joint statement, which none of you have seen so far, but I've managed to have a look at an advanced copy, and it really has some very strong language on counter-terrorism, on strengthening India-UK partnership in trade, investment, on the masala bonds, science and technology, and a whole host of areas. So to brief you on all that, I now give the floor to Randhir. Randhir, over to you.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. We had Prime Minister Theresa May visiting India. This was her first visit outside of Europe. She's accompanied by the UK Secretary of State for International Trade, Dr. Liam Fox, and the Minister of State for Trade and Investments, Greg Hands. She also had a delegation of business leaders, business executives who participated in India-UK Tech Summit, which was inaugurated jointly both by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UK Prime Minister. Her program today in the morning, she inaugurated the India-UK Tech Summit. Thereafter, she had talks with Prime Minister, where she discussed range of all the expansive range of issues that are there in the India-UK partnership today, from security, strategic partnership, global partnership, UNSC issues, UN Security Council membership issues, science and technology partnership, defense partnership. We have an important defense meeting coming up on 15th, 16th defense consultative group meeting, and the global partnership. Overall, all issues of that define this partnership today were discussed in detail. Tomorrow, late in the evening today, she will be calling on Honorable President, and tomorrow her program is in Bangalore, where she has some business engagements. She'll also be visiting Dynamatics, which is a UK company based here, and is working in the field of precision engineering and aerospace. That's a good showcase of India-UK, what India-UK together are doing in high technology or technology areas. In the talks today between the Prime Minister, the financial aspect, there's one pillar of the relationship which is doing very well. In the last several months or so, we've had some very good results and outcome coming out of this financial partnership. Several Indian companies, including HDFC and NTPC, you would be aware, they've raised masala bonds. Apart from these two Indian companies, there are also foreign companies who've raised masala bonds in London. That is one partnership which is coming up very well. There are other Indian companies like Indian Railway Finance Corporation and National Highway Authority of India. They're also looking forward to raising finance and masala bonds in London. There is the two of our leading companies, Energy Efficiency Services Limited and IREDA, which works in the renewable energy area. They're also looking forward to raising money. Hopefully that will happen in the next few months or so. We signed 2 MOUs today. One MOU is on IPR, intellectual property rights, which is an important component of any exercise when you have high technology and business issues involved. So that's a very good way forward in our enhancing our economic partnership. The second MOU is on ease of doing business. On ease of doing business, we would like to harness and learn from what UK has to show and demonstrate, and how best we can see that through this ease of doing business collaboration, we can ease out some of the impediments that are there between the businesses and investment regimes between the two countries. Both India and UK, as you're aware, we have high stakes in each other in terms of investments. India is the third largest investor in the UK, and similarly, UK also happens to be the third largest investor in India. Among the G20 countries, of course, is the largest investor in India. We have a joint statement which should be on the air. If not, it'll come any moment now. But just to also add on the concrete side, we established a joint working group on trade. Now, trade is an important area of engagement between UK and India, both on the services side and on the goods side. UK has huge trading relations, of course, with the European Union. And now as it exits the European Union, there'll be opportunities that will come by for both UK and India to look into as to how we can channelize our energies towards promoting more trade. So that is one bilateral mechanism which has been agreed to. This afternoon we have the Joint Economic and Trade Committee meeting at the ministerial level. From our side, Minister of State, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, and from the UK side, their Secretary of Trade, Mr. Liam Fox, they'll be chairing the meeting. In this JETCO meeting, of course, we have all trade issues, service issues, mobility issues, other technical matters relating to WTO issues. All those issues will be discussed. Now, I'll just briefly run through the joint statements just so that you can get a flavor of all the things that we have encapsulated in this first bilateral visit of UK PM Theresa May outside Europe. Obviously, since this is the first visit that she's chosen, and she's chosen India, speaks quite well of the relationship and the strength and depth of this relationship. So, on terrorism, of course, we have a very strong condemnation of the attacks in Uri. We have a very strong language here on there would be zero tolerance on terrorism. We also have a strong condemnation of and calling on Pakistan to bring the perpetrators of the November 2008 terrorist attacks in Mumbai and 2016 Pathankot attack to justice. We also have strong language to suggest that there should be no selectivity as far as fight against terrorism is concerned. There's also a very clear message that there cannot be any distinction between good and bad terrorists. We have other areas included in this joint statement, obviously, is the global partnership, how best the two countries can drive their businesses together. We have tried to leverage the strengths that India has and UK has together as to how both together can put in energy and effort in driving and in becoming partners of our national development story. Make in India, Digital India, Skill India, all those references are there. On the smart cities side, again, there are a few new initiatives, and the commitment of the UK financial companies, CDC, the Export Finance, others, to how best to partner us in our smart city development program. On the energy climate change side, we have a good energy partnership with the UK. We have we are likely to have a UK-India Energy Summit early next year. We've also invited them to join the International Solar Alliance framework agreement. They have signaled their intention to come forward. Prime Minister Theresa May signaled the UK's intention to join the alliance, and the UK will continue to engage in discussions as the framework agreement is finalized. So we look forward to that partnership, so as how best we can, both the countries can galvanize global action on climate change. On financing, I gave you some all that has happened in recent months in terms of London being leveraged for India's growth and development. On smart cities, we see some new progress made. There is a technical assistant. There's a redevelopment program of Varanasi City Railway Station under the Varanasi Smart City Development Plan, which has gone forward, and there's some progress being made there. In the NIIF, the National Investment Infrastructure Fund, there's a sub-fund which is to be created, India-UK sub-fund to be created. There again, we've seen progress. Due diligence is happening. We have appointed a task force. Once the task force gives its report, thereafter we'll see both the governments will have to put in matching finance, and then that matching finance will be leveraged by the private sector financing companies, and more money can flow in. On the science and technology side, I mean, there's one pillar of India-UK relationship which is doing very well, and we have several announcements done, but two critical and important ones were, one, a joint center on clean energy, and the second one was a joint project on energy efficient materials, which both these programs will feed into the Smart Cities program and in other sustainability programs that we are looking into. Speaking of the science side, we have, UK has a very strong biobank program, and India is now starting to establish a biobank program. In that, we have requested for UK to come forward and help us in our technical collaboration, and hopefully we'll take that biobank engagement between the two countries forward soon. On the visa issues and mobility issues, obviously this is a very important subject as far as India-UK relations are concerned. We flagged our concerns regarding student issues, visa issues regarding students, visa issues regarding business travelers, and other related bona fide travelers to the United Kingdom. Obviously, there's a recognition from the UK side as that they have to move forward in this regard, and they have announced 2 new programs which will be welcomed by the business community, and it's geared towards them to begin with. So they have offered to India membership, joining a registered traveler scheme, which will allow a person who wants to become a member and access and avail its facilities. That is now, and India is the first country which has been first visa country. This particular facility is available to many countries, but those are non-visa countries like South Korea, Japan, people from whose nationals don't need visa when they come to the United Kingdom. But India is the first country to whom that this particular program has been offered. We've also been offered a program called Great Club program, and in this program, India as a government, the first government, has been offered to nominate business people who will be allowed expedition in visa processes and will be allowed expedition at the port of entry in UK. So these are by and large some of the important outcomes of this visit.
Yeah, I think that's been a fairly comprehensive presentation. He's covered all the bases, told you about the significant announcements on the visa side, the progress in terms of counter-terrorism cooperation, the further launch of the masala bonds. So the trade and investment partnership is also in very good shape, and the floor is now open for questions. Deepanjan.
With regard to mobility, hi Randir. With regard to mobility, when the PM raised the issue with her counterpart, what was the exact response of the Prime Minister May? Because she, I guess, had given some comments to onboard British journalists about, that Indians are already getting excess number of visas. So,
Sorry. If you look at the joint statement, there's a clear recognition that, they, the UK government recognizes that they have to move, they have to listen to, um, while acknowledging, this is what it says, while acknowledging the valuable contributions of 1.5 million strong Indian diaspora in British society and their role in furthering bilateral relations, it is clearly recognized that mobility can strengthen people-to-people relations between the two countries. And to this end, both parties agreed that visa regimes need to be simple, efficient as possible for students, business professionals, diplomats, and other officials and other travelers. So their response has been positive. They've offered something to begin with so that the perception that is there, when we talk to the UK side, they say that visa processes are very good. The overall issuance is very high, yet there's a perception in India that UK visas are very, very difficult. So to begin with, they have offered these two new programs to business travelers, and hopefully this will address some of the concerns to begin with.
On the student side also, she mentioned in her press statement that 9 out of 10 student applications are accepted by the British, visa processing centers. Yep, Pranay.
So she said that India has to ensure the return of those who who are not entitled to remain in UK. So how are we going to ensure it, and what is the way forward in it?
This is something which is not unique to the United Kingdom. Anywhere in the world, if a person has gone there, he or she has overstayed, then there's a process by which the particular person is sent back. So in the UK, in the case of UK, we have some people who are there who have overstayed. Obviously, they have gone beyond the mandate of their visa. The process that we have is that he or she, his or nationality is verified. If he's an Indian national, obviously we issued him a travel document, and based on the travel document, he comes back. They say that the numbers are somewhat large, but there are other issues involved in that. It's not very simple. You must have seen some time back some of the students. They had overstayed, and thereafter they take the matter to the court. So there are legal challenges also. The numbers are there, but it will all depend on how best we can do together in terms of verification of the nationality, because without verification of nationality is very difficult, or after verification of nationality, without issuing a travel document is very difficult for those people to come back. You need a valid travel document to come back to India.
Nainima.
So this joint working group in trade, will this be discussing UK's long-pending sort of demand that it will have a free trade agreement so that it can be implemented once the Brexit goes through? And also any timeline when this joint working group in trade will meet first time, and where?
This joint working group will be, obviously it will be announced, it has been announced, but it will be they'll be talking a little more about it in the JETCO meeting that is to happen this afternoon. Obviously, on trade matters, United Kingdom possibly technically cannot discuss these issues with India till the time it hasn't exited the UK. So we are some time away from where we can actually talk about free trade agreement. But having said that, there is nothing that is stopping us to looking at if tomorrow we have a more robust trading relationship in place. What are the issues on which we can do better so as to have this robust relationship? So I guess those are the kind of issues, technicalities involved, impediments involved, which are there, which can be removed. Those are the issues that will be talked about as we take this joint working group forward. As of now, we don't have any timeline as to when the joint working group will be meeting, but those issues will follow.
Mahasadiki.
Sir, was there any mention of the possible extradition of loan defaulter Vijay Mallya? Was that mentioned at any level?
I mean, if you look at the joint statement, we have a very strong paragraph on extradition. So extradition is an important component of our engagement with the United Kingdom. And as far as should I just read out so that you can get the kind of commitment that is there from both sides to take these things forward. The two Prime Ministers affirmed their strong commitment to enhance cooperation under mutual legal assistance treaty. The two leaders agreed that fugitives and criminals should not be allowed to escape the law. So that demonstrates the commitment that is there on both sides to do their best. They expressed their strong commitment to facilitate outstanding extradition requests from both sides. In this context, they directed that the officials dealing with extradition matters from both sides should meet at the earliest to develop better understanding of each other's legal processes and requirements, share best practices, identify the causes of delays, and expedite pending requests.
Manas?
Again, back to the visa issue, sir, actually. One of the major issues about the visa issue is that, in fact, fixing the annual threshold of salary to grant visa. So have you just raised this issue specifically? Because, in fact, Indian industry has been agitating about this clause that, in fact, you can't, fix a threshold for granting visa. So, in fact, was this issue discussed, sir?
Yeah, these issues, skilled visa issues, including threshold limits, etc., all these issues have been, brought to the attention of the UK government, not just today, but in several of our engagements that we have had at the highest level in the recent past. So these issues were very much talked.
Charu?
Again, on the visa issue, I'm sorry for going on and on that, but the Prime Minister May, when she says that India needs to ensure that those who overstay come back, is almost in a sense putting the onus on India, and in a sense saying that the overstaying people and the fact that we're not able to get them back is part of the reason why the UK is being as strict as it is with visas, or at least that's the perception. Now, is that really a fair assessment in our view of why we have these issues with the UK on visas?
There are two issues here. One, on the visa side. Obviously, India is a big country. You have a large number of people traveling. So obviously, the outflow to the UK also will be on the higher side. It has only gone up 30%, 40% in the last few years. So irrespective of what's happening on the overstaying those people, visa figures, if you look at the United Kingdom, it has actually gone up. Now, talking about the people who overstayed, on our part, we play by the international rules. Any country today, if your national is in third country, it is by your obligation, you are obligated to take your national back. And similarly, in case of UK, as and when the UK government will approach to us, giving the proper documents for issue and for verification of nationality and issue of travel documents, we'll do what is required to take back our national. That is our position.
No, and that has always been the case. I mean, how can you refuse to take back your own nationals? The issue with the UK has been that they wanted the returnees, so-called returnees, to come based on their verification. We said, unless we have done our national verification, at our level, how can we accept them? Because there is no DNA test which can prove, subcontinent, everybody is pretty much the same. That was the main issue, actually. But we had a pilot project which has been largely successful, and now let's see how we can replicate that. Parikshit.
So, sir, before coming, the British Prime Minister had said that India and Pakistan must sit together and talk things out. When Prime Minister Modi raised the issue of cross-border terror emanating from Pakistan, what was the response from the British Prime Minister and the British delegation?
I mean, I would say that a Prime Minister in his press statement today made a very strong appeal that there must be absolutely very strong condemnation of strong border terrorism, cross-border terrorism, and this was his views when we had the joint press statement. As far as the UK side is concerned, they have a very strong language on terrorism. They've talked about zero tolerance. They talked about not making any distinction between good terrorists and bad terrorists. Also they've talked about and condemned very strongly the Uri attack. So I would leave it at that.
Yeah.
India and UK enjoys very robust defense partnership, as you said right now. and Britain has been supplying large number of defense equipments to India. But recently there have been reports of allegations of bribery on various defense equipment supplied to India. So these issues were taken up during the conversations.
Well, defense relationship was discussed. It was also discussed as to how we can take our defense partnership forward. And while talking about taking the defense partnership forward, Prime Minister specifically stressed that how best the defense area where India has liberalized its FDI regime could also be leveraged by India-UK partnership to push for more manufacturing not just for the domestic market, but also to export outside India for the global market. And there he sought the support of the UK government to work with us, work with the private companies, their companies and Indian companies working together to manufacture for India, manufacture the world, and for exporting, creating conditions so that we can together export abroad.
John.
John Elliott, how far do you think the moves on the registered traveller scheme and businessmen actually goes towards meeting what India wanted? And as a second part to the visa question, do you think this means that Theresa May has changed her stance from the time when she was the Home Secretary, when she was rather tough?
I mean, I would say changes in life are always incremental. So if you go by that, the fact that this program has been offered to India, and India is the first visa country to be offered this program, that itself speaks a lot. Also, on the Great Club program, India is the first government who has been offered to nominate business executives and who frequently travel to come forward and take advantage of this program. Obviously, it has been done in the interest of UK-India, deepening UK-India business ties, which has a very strong element of mutuality. It helps them and it helps us as well.
So now that there's a case in the Supreme Court also on, was the issue of the return of the Kohinoor diamond taken up with the British PM? Did India raise this issue at all? Because as far as my knowledge goes, I think the central government had told the Supreme Court that it would work out ways in which this could be done.
Yeah, we have been in the past taken this matter with the UK government, and we are conscious of the fact that this matter has to be pushed. The case right now, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's pending before the Supreme Court, and thereafter we'll see what the court has to say.
But was this issue discussed in the talks between the two prime ministers? Did PM Modi raise this issue with Prime Minister May?
Right now, the question of Kohinoor is in the court. So once the court gives us a direction to go, we'll go ahead.
So I was wondering whether, the Tata, the Chorus sale, the sale of Chorus, and then there are two other issues, Kane Energy and Vodafone. Were these issues raised at the delegation level meeting? Because I remember seeing Mr. Jaitley as part of the delegation, so I'm just wondering if there was any discussion on these subjects.
Well, these are all business issues and private sector issues. Obviously, these issues would have been discussed. We had in the morning a meeting of the CEOs Forum, India-UK CEOs Forum, and CEOs Forum, as you know, they're a business platform which then feeds into with its suggestions and recommendations to the government. So that is where I didn't attend the meeting in the morning, but that is where it would have been discussed, if at all.
Yeah, also we've heard about the business visa restrictions being eased. I'd like to know if specifically easing of student visas was raised by India at the bilateral meeting. If so, what the response was, and also if the issue of student visas is in any way a red line for India or tied to any other aspects of UK-India relations.
Well, the issue of student visas was raised along with other visa matters as well. And you'd see in the joint statement here, there is a clear recognition, and I would read, to this end, both parties agreed that visa regimes need to be as simple and efficient as possible for students, businesses, professionals, diplomats, officials, and other travelers, including facilitating short-term mobility of skilled personnel between the two countries. The two leaders noted that the UK remained a popular destination for Indian students and that these students add to deepening India-UK partnership across all sectors of bilateral engagement. Prime Minister May noted that there remained no cap on overall numbers of international students studying in the UK, and that Indian students would continue to be welcome, and that the UK Home Secretary had recently announced her intention to consult on changes to the UK student visa regime. So there is, in a sense, what we have articulated, there is a sense that, that those things would be taken forward.
Yeah, just the second part of my question, whether it's considered to be a red line in terms of UK-India diplomacy or tied to other aspects of the relationship between the countries.
No, this is an ongoing process, an ongoing engagement. So obviously, we are talking of a continuum. When you're talking of bilateral relations, we're talking of a continuum. There are no red lines. If there are red lines, you talk about those, and then you see how best you can take them forward.
Any other questions? Kalul.
So recently the UK Armed Forces Chief praised the Pakistani General Rahil Sharif. So did this issue come up? Did you discuss that if you are on the same page as far as India's and UK's position on Pakistani military is concerned?
Well, this is too specific an issue. Obviously, we discussed larger security issues that govern India-UK.
Specifically, Prime Minister briefed her on detail on cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan, and you see that reflected in the joint statement as well. The questions, so this press briefing comes to a close. Thank you all.